Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm back covering the Walten Files again. This time we'll be recovering the Walten Files 2. So really kind of like the first official release, I guess, because we covered like the Walten Files 1 last time, but it was the original version of it, not like kind of the re-uploaded versions. This is kind of like the first canon thing, I guess, like the first fully canon thing. So before I get into the main videos, I've actually done a timeline now as well. So I've got it up in Photoshop. It says Walten Files timeline, it's got a line. I'll be keeping up with different things in the lore to try and make it all make sense in a way. There are a few things where I feel like there's little contradictions here and there, so it'd be good to try and like properly put it into a timeline finally and yeah, go over them in a way. So without further ado, I'm going to go to the Walten Files 2 Relocate project. I also, because of the last video, I didn't really get to check all the descriptions, I don't think, for like, you know, the original upload of the Walten Files 1. So yeah, I'll check the description here for Relocate project. So this one's tape 2. When we get to the re-upload of the Walten Files 1, we'll look at the description of that. That one will say tape 1. Another good thing about this as well is that there'll be captions on this as well, which would be good. Not like auto-generated ones, actual captions within the video. So I think they're sometimes a little bit out of time, but they're always helpful for the lore and stuff. So here we go. So tape 2. This is another compilation of tapes from Bunny Smiles Incorporated. I was able of contacting, again, English not Martin's first language. I was able of contacting people via forums and threads that have some information of the company. These tapes revolve around some relocation project that was being executed during the late 1970s, 1978, so I'll put the dates on when we actually see them in the video. A BSI ex-employee mentioned that these tapes were really private and that only a few people had a copy of them. Once the company vanished during the early 80s, 1983, that's interesting. All tapes regarding the project were banned and destroyed. There are some super rare. These are super rare and I'm really lucky to have them. As to me, I'm doing fine. Just staying home, hoping COVID doesn't fuck me over. Take care, Anthony. So Anthony's like the guy basically who's uploading all these different tapes and stuff and has found them all and is compiling them all together. The interesting thing about 1983 is that I believe the Walten Files 3 Bunny Farm takes place in 1982, and I believe that's almost like maybe just before like the Bonsberger's institutions are coming back into force. I can't remember, but we'll go back into that, I guess, at some point. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to go into Relocate project. So here we go. Also, I just had to check the volume. Hold on. I always have to keep doing this. Right, hold on. Just double check that I'm recording as well. Yes, I am. Good. Always have to double check. Right. Also, I missed. Luckily, I can go forwards and backwards by a frame, but there we go. So we've got a caption there saying tape 1 created. You see, this is the thing. So that's not the 7th of February. That's actually July 2nd, 1978. So if we put that as tape number 1 for Relocation project on our timeline. And probably as time goes on as well, I'm gonna have to like make the fonts, well, yeah, I guess it will be the fonts at that point, yeah, small. Yeah, I always have to get the difference between font and typeface correct because I did a graphic design course for 2 years and we got it like drilled into us, the difference between typeface and font. If you want to know what the difference is, a typeface is like, for example, this typeface is Montserrat Semi-Bold, the one that I use for everything on my channel essentially, or like Comic Sans, which we were told if we use Comic Sans on our course we get kicked off it, so do not use Comic Sans. Or like Helvetica or Times New Roman, their typefaces. A font would be if it's in bold, italics, I guess the Montserrat part's the typeface, the semi-bold bit's the font, but also size and stuff like that. So yeah, so it'd be, yeah, I'll have to keep changing the size of the font, not the typeface. But yeah, so there's the first thing on timeline. So, not 1878, hold on. 1978. There we go. That'd be a weird bit in the timeline, wouldn't it? So 1978, so I believe that's 4 years after kind of like the big incidents happened that originally closed Bonsberger's, which I think we find more about out in Walten Files 3. But and possibly in the secret tape as well, which we'll be watching this episode as well. So, and that has a load of dates in, so there's a lot of stuff we can add to the timeline on that. But yeah, enough timeline ramblings. We've only got like less than a second in, and I've already gone on a massive tangent. We're already 6 minutes into this video, and I've only reached like half a second. Right. I believe there might be a code somewhere as well, so we need to look out for that. There's lovely little Bon. Bunny Smiles Inc. Yeah, so Cyberfun company, accompanied by Cyberfun Tech, 1970 something. We know it's 1978 now because of the caption before, so that's good. Hello. Oh, there we go. Got it. It was up there. There we go. So this bit, we don't necessarily need this bit. It's more the bit that's at the end. There's another half of this YouTube link which sends you to the secret video. We already know what the first part will be, and it will be youtube.be and then something at the end of it. So we'll probably just get the second half of it, I think, and then put that. I mean, I've already got it in the playlist anyway, but I want to do this kind of legit. So yeah. But that's the first part of it if you want it.
Hello, BSI members and employees, and welcome to the tape that will change the future of the Bon's Burgers brand and the Bunny Smiles company for the better. That's right, after 4 long years of legal paperwork, we finally decided to use our backup plan, which we...
Yeah, and then just like the sensor bar there. So yeah, so this Relocate project, 1975. Yeah, so I believe that's the date on the bunker, on the K9 bunker. It says it was like opened in 1975, so doesn't say an exact date on there, but yeah. Oh no, actually no, that's Storage K9 there. So yeah, so Storage K9, that's interesting. We've got like a specific date for these, so I'll just put these on the timeline in a minute. But yeah, so the relocation project happens in 1979, but then the bunker, I guess, might be opened on that date. So I'll just put these into the timeline now. So Bon's Burgers is June 28th, 1974. And interest as well, this one says Jack Walten, but then the rest of them say Felix Kranken, suggesting that something happens to Jack Walten after that. And blah blah, because, yeah, clearly blah blah blah. And then a random mystery document there, yeah. So June 28th, 1974. So obviously there's going to be some dates that need to be added from the Walten Files 1 when I get around to the re-uploaded versions. As I say, I think there might be some changes and tweaks that were made to that, so there's not really much point in getting the ones from the original upload, but also there are captions in the original video which may give dates, like secret dates like this kind of July 2nd one that was a secret one there. So we've got Bon's Burgers starting in 1974, then the Storage K9, July 23rd, 1975, and now we're watching the Relocate project. We might finally get through it. We're nearly a minute into it. Let's go.
We created after the tragic closure of Bon's Burgers back on July 20th, 1974.
So also July 20th, 1974, another date that we're going to put on. Yeah, so July 20th, 1974 is when it closed, so we'll add that one on. Right, okay, so now I've added the Bon's Burgers closure. I thought I might as well also add, like, a bunch of lines on preemptively, so I don't have to keep, like, you know, adding them on, and it just doesn't take as long. So, yeah, so I think it's a July 20th, 1974. I'll just double check that for a sec.
After the tragic closure of Bon's Burgers back on July 20th, 1974.
Yeah, so July 20th, 1974 was when it closed. I believe it only closes basically about like a month after it opens because of all the tragic incidents that happen around that time in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now present to you the Relocate project.
Ooh.
But before we go...
Lovely Felix there as well. This is BSI 2.0. And Bomb with his massive finger. Also, Felix clothes very like kind of crinkly. He's kind of like withered and stuff like that.
But before we go into details, we want
to... you see, just look at that.
Greet all the new Bunny Smiles employees.
Yeah, again, really creepy audio design.
Start analyzing the relocate.
Right, and then yeah, so Relocate project. That's just like a form, I guess, like a consent form. I believe that says MW, so that might be like Martin Walls there. That might just be like a little Easter egg cameo that he's done.
Let's start analyzing the Relocate project by checking what has happened ever since the closure of Bonds 4 years ago. As many of you might have known from previous tapes.
Right, so Bunny Smiles shipping service 1975. So I believe this is them taking them to the K9 bunker. I believe that's meant to be Felix. And I guess there's one of the facility caretakers because they're in the purple uniform. And this is one of the interesting bits where I said last time about Billy kind of being like a character, and he's in this one a lot more, but he's like a character who's kind of separated from the rest of them. And that's because, like, for example, with this one, he's going separately from the rest of them, I believe, because there's another tape, I think it's actually in the secret tape after this episode, is that the rest of them kind of go separately from Billy. So again, it's just weird little things like that where it's like it just... yeah, like little kind of differences that Billy has for weird reasons, which I don't know why, but yeah, let's keep going.
Were safely secured in St. Juana's storage facility some months after the restaurant's closure.
Yeah, so basically all of them went over, stored in the facility in St. Juana's forest, yeah, about a month, it said a few months then, didn't it, after the restaurant's closure.
St. Juana's storage facility some months after the restaurant's closure.
There we go. Also, I like, by the way, how Bunny isn't capitalized there. That's just like one of those little, like, OCD things that makes me just go, just why? Just capitalize that, please. You capitalize everything else, yet the Bunny, you need to capitalize that, Jesus. Yeah, and there we go. And I believe that's meant to be like... I believe that's meant to be like Jack Walten. I'm not sure. I mean, it looks kind of like his hairstyle there, I think. Yeah, I think it's just kind of a thing more like with Jack Walten kind of inserting himself like into the tapes, whether that's like a paranormal thing or whether he's literally, you know, doctored the tapes and put himself in there, because it's kind of very ambiguous at this point. Again, unless the Walten Files 4 or anything like that changes anything, it's very ambiguous about what actually happened to Jack Walten. All we know is that he's gone missing, but we don't know what's happened to him. He could still be alive or whatever. Yeah, I think that's meant to be Jack Walten. I'm not sure. Like, it's very kind of ambiguous. It's like, it's pixel art. It's very hard to tell.
Later on,
I love the bits where it goes silent as well. Makes it so creepy.
good amount of business opportunities appear.
Right, this is an interesting one. Because this is something which I've not really seen many other people point out, which is that you've got this VHS here that says the disappearance of Jack Walten. And I was thinking actually this, because these, you know, these videos are like, you know, meant to be from VHS tapes, I was thinking that possibly one of the future Walten Files episodes might be called The Disappearance of Jack Walten, and it's possibly the one that Little Bon was watching in the Little Bon's Neighborhood cartoon from the last episode. That, you know, there's the VHS cover from it, and then it's called The Disappearance of Jack Walten. So that's interesting. Also got a Buzu plush here, which is actually now a thing also that you could buy. I think they've sold out now, but yeah, that was one thing. That's a bit hard to tell. Bunny, does that? I think that says Bunny Farm. Yeah, so I guess this is, yeah, BSI video game. Yeah, so this is kind of a little bit of a teaser to Bunny Farm in a way, which is the next episode coming out. Then Bunny Comics 27. Why did Bon hide something bats? I'm not sure. It might be like, why did Bon hide Buzu's bats, maybe? I don't know why he did. And then why 4th of July matters with, I believe that's meant to be Ducky, who we saw in Night of the Living Robot, which was meant to be Carved Duck, but then in the Halloween episode, The Mysterious House, we actually properly meet the character of Ducky. Interest as well, that says home video from 1978. Should I add that? I think I'll only add things to the timeline which have like a very, unless if it's something really important, I'll add them if they have like a very specific date, I think. Oh no, screw it, I'm going to add this on. There we go, that is officially part of our timeline now, because why not, eh? Why not?
Later on, a good amount of business opportunities.
Oh, oh, hold on. I'm glad I just rewinded this.
Later on, a good amount of business.
Oh, that's creepy. Oh, I've never noticed that. A look at the TV screen. Oh, that is creepy. Oh, I don't know who that is, but there's something just like going past. Oh, I've never noticed that before. Just watch the TV screen in a second.
Later on,
Oh, that, alright, okay, that's creepy. I'm glad that I'm rewatching these and finding things which I'd never seen before. That is creepy, just seeing that going across in the background. Oh, I'm gonna watch it one more time just to actually get what he's saying in the background. But my god, creepy.
Later on, a good amount of business opportunities appeared, such as books, merch, animated movies. We even got a TV show.
I mean, it's definitely an animated movie because it was just something going across in the bloody background.
That's when Felix Kranken had the brilliant idea of restore and repurpose.
And this is interesting as well because, you know, this is in the original one we saw this picture, but with Jack Walton at the side as well. But now he's obviously been cut out. It's just his random arm there. So yeah, so it's almost like trying to cut Jack Walton out of all the other stuff in a way.
Programmed the robots of Bond's Burgers with the purpose of relocating them in a new restaurant that would be opened in a not-so-distant future.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing about, like, reopening in 1982. I believe that was the date when Brian Stells went to the K9 bunker as well. It's just probably because they were trying to reopen it. They sent Brian to try and get it, you know, get all the robots prepared for that. And, yeah, terrible stuff obviously happened to Brian. Also, again, really creepy design with the eyes as well. Just, again, with the massive enlarged pupils that just kind of fill it up, staring directly at the camera. Really creepy.
A pretty smart plan, right? Making enough money to eventually reopen the Bond's Burgers restaurant is no doubt a brilliant idea. So let's give it up for Felix Kranken, a man with not only a giant brain, but also a giant heart.
So creepy. And then this bit, you might just be able to see in the background. In fact, I might be able to, hold on. I'm going to do a map pack now and just like open things up in separate files. But, new. And there we go. Right, and then if I go to image adjustments and brightness, I think brightness should do it. You can just about see. I think there is other ways like to get it a little bit clearer, but yeah, you can just about see like a realistic face in the background. I think in one of the film theories they actually do like a really high quality version of this, but yeah, it's just really pixelated at this point. Yeah, really creepy face in the background. And I think a lot, because I think that's meant to be Jack Walton, I think a lot of the hyper-realistic photos of Jack Walton, they're meant to be, well, they were made by, I think some of the earlier ones were just like people that Martin had found, you know, online, like different sources, different assets, but for future ones, he actually used like photos of his own face, which I just think kind of makes it a little bit creepier, I don't know, but yeah.
With not only a giant brain, but also a giant heart.
Yeah, it's just creepy, man. Ugh. Right, here we go. So tape number 2 is, that would be August. Yeah, August 13th, 1978. So let's add that on to our timeline. Right, so we got that on now as well. So that's just over a month later. You got August 13th, 1978 for tape number 2, which I believe is something to do with Banny. I believe it's like some of the testing of Banny and stuff, which is a pretty cool, creepy scene. Creepy face again. There we go. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so reprogramming phase, facial expressions. Yeah, so it's going through Banny's different facial expressions. There we go. So model used, Banny created in 1974. I probably won't put that onto the timeline because I think just assuming the restaurant opening in 1974, unless there's specific different dates for different animatronics being created, I'm not going to put them on. I would just kind of lump that in with Bob's Burgers being, you know, opened in 1974. Also, it's not a specific date, it's only the year. So the results should be the same in all the other models. Yeah, and that also suggests that all the other models were created at the same time. I am wondering whether Billy was created either a little bit earlier or a little bit later for some reason, you know, to kind of, because also you see Billy later in this episode and he looks very different to the rest of the animatronics. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that ever gets confirmed. But yeah, it's basically just saying that should be the same as the rest of the animatronics, suggesting that they're all made around the same time. There you go. Again, simple animation, but really creepy, and with the eyes just staring. Right, so the mouth. So the mouth is a relocate feature. However, it still requires checking since the reprogramming could have affected the feature. Yeah, so essentially, saying that there's stuff before the relocation project, and then there are kind of features and stuff after the relocation project. Obviously, the mouth being one beforehand, you know, makes sense. The mouth needs to move anyway. But then it suggests that there are some other features afterwards as well. This tape's obviously for someone who's working on the relocation project to, you know, check the animatronics and see if they're all working correctly. Then blink. This feature is brand new, the Relocate project exclusive. So yeah, so the blinking was not there before. Employees must always clean the eye sockets. A dirty eye socket could affect the blink feature. Yeah, I think I've seen like videos of some animatronics that have like really like creepy blinking and stuff, like when they go when it goes wrong. But yeah, but that's interesting. I wonder if going back to the first video then, when you see like the performance of them, because obviously you see the mouth move, I wonder if, I'm assuming then they didn't have blinking in that. I don't know. I'd have to go back to it when we actually revisit it again. But yeah, it'd be interesting to actually look out for that, to see if he kept true to that. And yeah, they don't have blinking. Just see how much Martin's actually paying attention. I like how Bunny has like kind of like one kind of like lazy eye off to the side. Just makes it a little bit creepier. Right, and then these are the different emotions. So annoyed or bored. Surprised, just staring directly. Oh, it's so creepy. Looking for friends, customers. Just gonna turn this down a bit. Oh, and then the music just cuts off. When the music cuts off, it's so simple yet so effective. Really creepy. So yeah, looking for friends, and then dark background. And again, I know what's coming as well, and even I'm like kind of creeped out by it. Then again, though, I've only ever really watched these as like, I've mainly watched them like seeing people reacting to them. Actually, just watching them like straight as they are, I haven't really done very often. So just found someone. I mean, just look at that. It's the way he also like manipulates actual human face and stuff. Just makes it so uncanny and creepy. And again, sound design, so creepy. And then he finds me. Hello. Oh, so creepy. Let's go back to that. There you go. And noticing as well how it's kind of like a different picture. And the eyes as well. Oh, you can see the eyes there and the mouth. Oh, it's just really creepy. And again, kind of like even on the hyper-realistic ones, having it like be big, kind of blacked out eyes. It just makes it so much creepier. But yeah, watch that jump scare again.
The mighty rabbit tries to find a way out of the cage, but it's unsuccessful. The rabbit keeps trying to find a way.
The bunny
out.
rabbit's trapped.
The owner's attention. The mighty rabbit must get out.
I'm assuming this is actually some archive audio as well that's been used for it.
The mighty rabbit needs to get out. 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 The rabbit is starving. The rabbit is starving. The rabbit is starving. The rabbit is starving. The rabbit is starving.
Do you think the rabbit is starving?
The rabbit is starving. The rabbit is starving. The rabbit is starving.
I'm just crying. Oh, so creepy when like when like the sound volume changes as well. It's just so creepy. And I think also this is it's quite sad. It's actually some real footage of like some rabbit hunting and stuff, which is sad. But yeah. Oh, rabbits. But yeah, the whole idea of the rabbit starving in a way, I think that kind of goes... I think this is more explored in the next episode, Walten Files 3, but the whole idea that the victim who's inside Banny was left to starve in a way, and so the rabbit's starving in a way. Like, she got kind of like shoved into the suit, or, well, not really suit, shoved into the animatronic, but he's left kind of starving in a way. Like, instead of dying from like her injuries, she dies from starving to death, which is, it's so dark. Like, again, like much more dark than things like FNAF in a way, because it goes more into like the gritty details and stuff. And obviously this is the kind of worn out Banny from, you know, like the as the video suggests, the Relocate project, because you can see, like, you know, one of the feet, you know, kind of one of the feet casings missing, one of the hand casings missing, that bit's kind of been stitched up, big hole in the chest, stuff like that. Reversed audio as well. Oh, and then here you go. So, I believe, yeah, I can read this without turning up the brightness. So, it says missing Susan Woodings, who is the victim. And then, yeah, you can just see a missing poster there. Last seen June 30th, 1974. So, I think that says June. Yeah, so I think that's an E. So we'll add that to the list as well with this really horrifying image on there. Okay, so that's on there now. And it's actually quite interesting looking at that. I think we'll get it confirmed in the next video, the secret video, whether this was when Bob's Burgers actually opened. But if that is the actual date, that suggests that Susan Woodings disappeared 2 days after it opened. So that just shows how, you know, how much fucked up shit was happening so early on in kind of like the Bob's Burgers opening in the way in that 1 month. Yeah, only happened 2 days after. But yeah, it's suggesting that Susan Woodings is the one who's inside Banny, I guess. I mean, I know I've watched Walten Files 3, so I know that for definite. Yeah, it seems like in Walten Files 3, and I think in some bits of Walten Files 4, from what I've been hearing, it's been very hard to avoid spoilers with that. But that it kind of goes over some of the main kind of victims' deaths kind of over and over again, adding a bit more detail each time. And from what I've heard with one of the bits of Susan Woodings in the Walten Files 4, it's quite graphic. So, yeah, it'll be quite interesting to see that. I've been seeing it like in a lot of thumbnails and stuff and getting an idea of what it's going to be. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see it. Although I did see a clip, I think it might have been yesterday or the day before, of, I think it was in a film theory that I watched, and they used a clip from the Walten Files 4, and the animation style looks much smoother, which is yeah, it's brilliant. It looks amazing. I can see why a lot of time's been taken to get it out, because yeah, it looks fantastic. But yeah, I can't wait to finally get up to that once I do. But yeah, just very interesting. That's literally like 2 days after. Yeah, very interesting. So let's continue. I was thinking as well, it's good that my screen brightness is up as well, which means I can actually see a lot easier some of the dark bits. So now, tape number 3, back to the timeline again, which is July 9th, 1978. Okay, so this is another interesting thing, which is that the tape number 3 actually comes before tape number 2 in the timeline. I guess part of kind of the lore of that would be that Anthony's just trying to put it in more kind of like a not necessarily a chronological order, but like kind of an order that kind of narratively works a bit better. I don't know, but yeah, so that's quite interesting. That so this tape would have happened before the whole kind of tape to tell workers about how to kind of like operate and clean the animatronics. So it's interesting that that tape came out after this one, which I believe this one is people actually going to the Relocate project, which is interesting. So that means they probably didn't have this tape to go off before they actually worked on the relocation project. So that's quite interesting. So, oh, actually, no, sorry, no, this one isn't that. My mistake. This one is a completely different one about... yeah, we're only 5 minutes in, goddammit. Yeah, no, this one is about, like, different rules and stuff working through the K9 bunker specifically. I thought this one was actually the people going to do the relocation project, so this makes a lot more sense, actually. So there we go. Again, though, this image, which I believe I pointed out in the teaser for this video, no Billy. Again, it's the main 4 showstoppers, but not Billy, which suggests that Billy isn't one of the showstoppers. Also, this music is really good and really reminds me of Bugsy Malone. Like, reminds me of the song at the end of Bugsy Malone, you know. There we go. Little teaser to Bunny Farm there on the arcade machine. I don't know whether... it's a new video game system, Cyberfun Tech maybe, or very hard to read, but yeah, that's Bunny Farm there. And you can also just see, which we'll see a few little teasers for later, so you got, I believe that's meant to be Buzu, Bon, but specifically Little Bon, I believe, so these are kind of like the Little Bon's neighborhood characters, Shah, Banny, and then I believe this is a little character called Show Bear, or I like to call him White Bear, because I just forgot his name, and so White Bear sounded funny. My sense of humour is rubbish. But then again, this one has got Billy in with the Little Bon's neighborhood stuff, so that's very interesting. And also a little character here we saw in the reversed audio from the last episode. We saw a little grey rabbit, who I believe we also see later in this episode as well. Just trying to see if there's any other. I mean, that looks like something there. That looks a bit out of place. Not sure, but yeah, very interesting where Billy is and isn't included in a way. And there's showing little 3D glasses. Yeah, so technical support 1978. There we go. Yeah, so it's technical support for the facility caretakers.
Welcome to technical support. Today we will focus on the area tour and orientation inside K9, the Bunny Smile storage facility.
Oh, I love a little shuffle that she does across.
We recommend all facility caretakers to have all needed equipment in hand and to always wear the Bunny Smiles uniform. Yeah,
so that shows if anyone's in a purple uniform, it either means they're a serial killer in FNAF, or it means that they are a facility caretaker in this. So we saw like Sophie, even though the lighting made it look red in the last episode, it was actually a purple uniform, because it also had like the name on the hat as well. Also in that pixel bit that we saw where Billy was being taken to the K9 facility, they were in a purple uniform as well. So yeah, they're all facility caretakers. So they're not necessarily people who worked at the Bon's Burgers restaurant. They're the people who work at the K9 facility to repair the animatronics, do the relocation project, which I assume is called relocation because they're relocating to a new venue, I guess, and just trying to get all the, everything kind of fixed up and stuff and improved for the opening in 1982, I guess, which again I don't believe we've seen yet, unless if it's in Walten Files 4. Again, I don't know.
But most importantly, all of you must always, under any circumstance, use your BSI ID card.
Yeah, BSI ID card, like Brian Stells.
Once you have all the necessary equipment at hand, we are ready to go. Hello, I see you made it to the storage facility. I bet you must be very excited and nervous to start working here. But let's stop and think. Do you have all the necessary items for your job task?
I'm just like simulating what Bond's doing.
I thought so. Let's put on a nice backpack and start packing.
A nice backpack. How lovely.
The items you will require for your job at K9. Lantern? Check.
I would argue that's more of a flashlight than a lantern, but okay. Oh, I love you, Mom.
Snacks? Check. Key?
That's a very ornate key, by the way, as well.
Check. Camera? Check.
Hello, Bon. Again, the eyes. It's in the eyes. And the little peekaboo Jack. I like it when I've seen some people's reactions to this as well, that they say, "Oh my god, it's his decapitated head in the bag." I think it's just meant to be Jack just peeking out at random points. I don't think it's meant to be his head's been decapitated. I don't think that's like part of the lore in a way. I think it's just he's just finding his way as much as he can. But I mean, just look at that. Like that, it's just creepy. And again, the sound cutting off and stuff, and just yeah. If you ever do, if you want to creep me out in your analog horror, just do this. Have like massive pupils, really stretch out eyes. Again, Jack Walten, same thing. Like basically kind of take all the color out of the eyes and just have it like be just monochrome black and white. Really creepy. Or basically have it just be all pupil, no iris.
You should turn on the light. Turn on the light. Turn on the light.
Hey, who turned out the lights?
Hey, who turned out the lights?
That's a Doctor Who reference. There we go.
Turn on the...
Yeah, so all these boxes say K9, so they're all for K9 storage facility.
It's important to keep track of which rooms you enter. This place can be really tricky and you could get lost very easily. This is the resting room. In this room, you can sit down, rest, talk with coworkers, you name it.
Oh, it looks very comfortable with these 3 blue chairs and the very dirty room. It looks very comfortable. It's also interesting as well that the storage facility kind of has like the same pattern as like a restaurant in a way. So like, you know, the restaurant probably would have had this pattern. It's kind of similar to like a FNAF style pattern for the restaurants. And yet the storage facility has that as well. It's kind of interesting that it has that almost... I mean, could the storage facility have been used as the main location at some point? That's an interesting thought to think about and to ponder.
Remember to always keep this room as clean and organized as possible.
Yeah, like with all these boxes stacked precariously.
This environment helps to get tasks done faster. A dirty environment only makes the job harder to get done.
Oh, it's a shadow man. There you go. So yeah, little bits like that, little cuts. So this is kind of the first thing that we're seeing of the Shadow Man. We hear at the end of the last episode it went like Shadow Man. So now we actually get to see the Shadow Man in question. Oh, she just like zooms in.
Alright, this is the main hall of the place. In front of you, you will find 3 doors. These are storage areas. The first door is used to save any kind of cleaning items and supplies.
I love like the mix with this. I don't know whether I mentioned this before as well. I just love the mix of both like kind of very simplistic animation style, but also with the hyper-realistic as well, because I feel like it gives that very big juxtaposition and it makes you feel very uneasy about what you're going to see next in a way, because they can still make like the imagery look horrifying with the hand-drawn style, but then the hyper-realistic images, it's just like such a massive juxtaposition and it makes you kind of not feel uneasy grounds in a way, which is, yeah, it's a really good technique in a way.
The second door is used to save on kind of prices and merch that was available in a Bond's Burgers restaurant.
There we go, so let's have a look at these bits of merch, if it'll let me go back. Hold on, there we go. Look how sad Bon looks there. Poor Bon. Poor Bon plushie. And then you got, I guess these are what? I mean, let's say there's a frisbee, is that a yo-yo, I guess? Pop badges. Because, yes, they did them in the 1980s. And then, yeah, some watches down there, a drawing book. I don't know what that... I mean, that's the kind of grey rabbit character that we've been seeing. Take care? I don't really know what that is, to be honest. Like I mean, that's more like a lunchbox, isn't it, with the Bonds Burgers? I don't really know what this is meant to be. Is it like a bag or like a backpack or something? I'm not sure. And yeah, I just feel like Boozer's just staring into my soul right now. But, yeah.
Burgers restaurant. The third door is used to hide...
Used to hide what? Sure. Oh, so creepy. Again. And I love how, like, sometimes with the audio design, they make it so it kind of, like, skips and goes do. Like, that's, again, really cool, like, analog horror trope. Oh yeah, he reversed audio again. Oh right, this time I'm actually going to remember to try and like reverse the audio on the video as well. I'll try and do that, because last time I reversed it after the fact because I forgot to do it. But yeah, this time I'm going to try and remember to actually reverse this bit of audio, because yeah, I can do that and show the reaction. Although I've seen most people when they reverse this bit of audio, but they don't like slow it down or anything, which makes it like it still makes it hard to understand what she's saying. But yeah. So in here we can see very creepy staring photo of Shah. Obviously the stage still being set up. But again, it's interesting, like they're setting up... I don't know whether it's like setting up the stage in here or whether this is just storage for the stage. Because again, the fact that it has the design of a restaurant, or like, you know, like kind of like a burger, pizza restaurant, whatever, suggests that this could be the location. Like, you know, they're saying about the relocation project, maybe the new location is going to be in St. Juana's Forest, but it's like, would you really put a location in a forest? It's very weird. Although there is, in the next episode, it is explained kind of the significance of St. Juana's Forest and maybe why the bunker was built there. But we'll find that out afterwards as well. But this is the Bunny Farm arcade machine as well. So let's go to the reversed audio.
Welcome to the basement, right?
Welcome to the basement. I don't think that's what you said, Shah.
In the main storage area, as you can see, this is the room where we store more important items such as stages, tables, arcade machines, and birthday props.
And random pictures of Shah.
Now, please follow me to the next door.
There we go. So this is kind of an image I was talking about last time where, yeah, in the teaser where we see this image and it kind of, we find out who's in Shah, and because of this image, it kind of suggests maybe who might be in Bonn. So we'll find that out in a moment when we find out who's in Shah.
Remember to avoid touching or shining lights at our robots unless you are a facility technician.
And again, no Billy. Where is Billy? Again, my point, like, you cannot see where Billy is at this point. Also interesting, it doesn't look like any of these guys have eyes in them, and yet Banny does, which suggests, like, with the whole, you know, the take 2 that we saw, where it was, like, testing kind of Banny's eyes and stuff. It's interesting then, maybe she was the only one to have eyes at this point, and then they installed the eyes into the rest of them later, possibly. That's a big possibility. Yeah, Boozer's a bit creepy there, just staring. And again, it kind of shows a difference between kind of like the Little Bond's Neighborhood characters and the actual animatronics are two separate entities in a way, rather than the same thing. And also interesting that this looks more like the Little Bond's Neighborhood version of the animatronic, not the actual animatronic version. It doesn't look like an animatronic version. It could just be reusing assets, to be fair, but I don't know. Like, maybe there is some significance to it.
Now let's move on to the next room.
Oh, that's just a bit of a darkened version of that room. And again now, Shah's eyes have gone black. Very creepy. And we see Shadow Man down there. Hello. Yeah, very creepy Shadow Man down there with his big black eyes. Again, big black pupils. I think it's just enlarging the pupils to the point where the iris just disappears. That's the Irish? No, the iris disappears. Yeah, that's what makes it creepy for me. Oh, she's crying. I've been to this room already. Oh, and that's creepy as well. Hold on. Where it's kind of like stretched out those faces as well. Makes it really creepy and kind of squashes hers, I guess. And now we've got a realistic picture there where we'll find out who this victim is.
By the time the lady entered the backstage, as the voice told her to, missing husband wasn't there. Instead, she found a rabbit.
Right, so yeah, so saying about a lady entering the backstage, trying to find her missing husband, but he wasn't there. But she found a rabbit with some very good dental work, might I say.
Rose broken, we'll fix you, you will beautiful.
Yeah, so rose broken, we will fix you, you will beautiful, essentially. So this is the character Rose.
You will beautiful, you will beautiful.
Yeah, and that's her body parts all taken apart. How lovely. Just got his hands out like T-posing. But now, yeah, you see all these body parts, and they will go there into Shah. And there you go. And again, just like, again, simplistic design, but really disturbing with that. Also, I find it funny with this as well. I think in like some of the film theories and some other videos that I've seen, when they've edited like this image of the Shadow Man, they keep the door handle on it like that's part of him, but it's not. It's just the door handle in the background. I just find that so funny whenever I watch them, because it's almost like, oh, has he got a baseball cap on? No, it's just it's the door handle. Look at this. And I like, again, with the simplistic design, it sounds like a lot of like nice detailed shading and stuff like that. Like, it's not just like block colours for some of these. Like, they really add a good amount of depth to it.
When she woke up, she looked beautiful. But on the inside,
I was thinking, are those flashes actually meant to be happening? There's like some little flashes of her at the side. Or is that just my YouTube glitching? It may possibly be my YouTube glitching. Not sure. Yeah. It might just be my YouTube.
but on the inside,
Again, the movements as well. Oh. Uh, I hate that music. And yet you might just be able to see... I don't know whether you can actually see what the name is there, or... Yeah, the date's quite hard to make out. I'll try brightening this one up, but you might not be able to see it. Yeah, you can't really see too much on this. Really, like, not really much else. You can tell her name's Rosemary, and I can tell you now, her name's Rosemary Walten. And the whole idea with that image that I was talking about earlier, the kind of like the Shah and Bon one, is that her name's Rosemary Walten. She was looking for her husband, Jack Walten, and so it's suggesting you have that image of Shah and Bon. And I think they kind of like in later episodes kind of hint towards them like in kind of the lore of like, you know, the little Bond's neighborhood and stuff like that, them kind of having a relationship. It's suggesting that with Shah having Rosemary inside, maybe Bond might have Jack inside. It's kind of adds to that theory. Again, not really ever confirmed. You can just make out the year as 1974. Then again, a lot of like the disappearances and stuff happened in 1974. You can't really make out the date though. It's probably June or July. At some point, yeah, very hard to see. But yeah, it's another one of these missing posters. But yeah, that's Rosemary Walten. Let's go back to this lovely moment. So creepy. There we go. I'll just see if there was anything in... Hold on. In that little bit of static. Is there anything in it? Or is it just static? It could just very well be static. There we go. Tape 4, unknown date. So yeah, so we don't need to put on that. Right, so the following footage was recorded during July 1978. So 12th of July to 14th of July, on which 3 Bunny Smiles technicians volunteered to stay 3 days in the BSI storage facility for the purpose of reprogram the animatronics in order to execute the Relocate project. Yeah, so essentially there would BSI technicians, so these aren't facility caretakers then. So Brian Stells was a facility caretaker, these are Bunny Smiles technicians, so they have 2 separate roles. So I'll just put this on. I'll put tape 4 as between 12th of July to the 14th of July is when tape number 4 happens. So again, this does prove my point from earlier, which is that when this happens, when these 3 BSI technicians go, they technically would not have this tape about the whole eye maintenance thing and all that stuff, because it was recorded a month later, so they wouldn't have actually had that to work off, I guess. So yeah, so it almost feels like they're kind of going in kind of ill-prepared in a way. But they would have had the tape to do with, like, you know, how to go around the the technical support tape. That's what it was. Like kind of what each of the different bits in the storage facility are and that kind of stuff. And obviously the tape 1, which was just talking about the Relocate project, kind of introducing it all. I mean, another option is that because of what happens in tape number 4, not 3. Hold on, tape number 4. There we go. Because of what happens in tape number 4 to these technicians, maybe that's the reason why they make another tape afterwards, to make it a little bit more helpful for future technicians. But yeah, it's interesting how like these are all kind of in a very different order in a way to the actual dates. Like they're not necessarily chronological, more kind of what narratively fits better, I guess. Again, this one has subtitles on as well because it's kind of hard to hear the voices. Oh, look at those me characters. So yeah, the employees left to right are, I'm assuming left to right, my left to right, Hillary B, Ashley P, and yeah, Kevin W. There we go. Just look at those faces. I think you need to go and see a doctor, Kevin, about that eye. Bit wonky. The next footage shows 3 employees restoring the Bonds Burgers 1974 animatronics. Yeah, and that confirms as well. Oh yeah, so that's saying Bonds Burgers, the establishment being opened in 1974, but then I guess also all the animatronics were also from 1974, I guess. I don't know. I'll just turn this up a little bit as well because he's quite quiet. But yeah, I love this as kind of as well, like same with the Brian Stell stuff where it makes it feel like it's actual footage, but it's actually just like still JPEGs and stuff. It's really cool. So this is Hillary talking. So that's wondering whether, like, maybe there was some possession happening or whatever, or maybe when some of these, like, you know, disappearances happened, maybe there was kind of like music playing and stuff because of that. Mm. At this point, could either be Susan Woodings or Rosemary Walten, either one. Because I believe both of them, at this point, you would kind of assume that they both have happened at the Bonsburgers location, so it could be either one. I'd be very interested to see that one, actually, because it gets kind of referenced a good few times about this kind of last day where they only let like one or two parties in, or like one or two families in. It'd be kind of very interesting to see if that like ever gets kind of shown later in the series. That'd be cool. Probably because some people were already inside the animatronics. Or they might have already been moved to the storage facility maybe at that point. They might have been starting to be moved at that point. Maybe. Yeah, I remember Matt Pat giving them a hard time about that as well, because he said like the filming kind of reminds them more like of Blair Witch Project, of it being in a forest, but like but it's the fact that Blair Witch Project wouldn't have come out by this point, so the only reference they would have had would have been Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So yeah, a bit of a weird complaint, but yeah, I see what they mean. Also, Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of similar to Skin Snatcher, so there we go. If you need to finish everything by Friday, you've got a lot of work to do. I mean, just look at all this stuff. It's just the twitching as well, like, Jesus. I'm just going to check, because I keep seeing things like flashing up, but I don't know whether that's just YouTube being weird or not. It's very possible it's YouTube being weird. Yeah, I think it's just YouTube. And the irregularities probably being people being stuffed into the suits. So it's probably either trying to build stuff around the bodies or trying to get the bodies out and then replacing parts of them and stuff. Have you noticed that this tiny key looks really ornate for a storage bunker? Oh, there was a flash of something there, definitely. Hold on. Oh, that is creepy. I can't really see exactly what it is, but I see some eye. Oh, that is. Hold on. Again, I'm seeing things which I've never seen before in this series, and it is creepy as fuck, and I love it. Because again, it's not things like jumping out of the camera; it's just things appearing on screen, and it makes it feel really creepy. So yeah, I'll just brightness, but I think exposure helps quite a bit. So yeah, I'll do that. Oh, I don't even know what it is. Hold on. Let's see, so we'll get the brightness up. Yeah, you can just about see. It looks like it's got a tie as well. Is it maybe Jack Walton still? Again, I don't know. I mean, Felix would have glasses on, so I'm not sure whether it's Felix or not. But yeah, let's get the contrast down. Then adjustments and exposure. Yeah, you can just about say that's creepy, man. It looks like there's something there as well, but you can definitely get out like a face and like a tie there. So I'm thinking that might just be like Jack Walton. That is something I've never seen before. I don't even know if anyone else has pointed that out either, but that's creepy, man. That's really creepy. That just appears. Oh, that is, yeah, that's disturbing. It's just disturbing that I'm finding this stuff over my. It's like, okay, yeah, it's a few frames. But yeah, my god, that is creepy. Oh. Again, adding in like kind of the 2D with actual 3D assets, it makes it a lot more detailed, but it also makes it creepy as well.
We hope we can go back with better equipment.
And again, another like realistic asset there as well for it.
As Hillary said, it was ready to come to us with an organized plan. But for now, they're sending the reprogramming phase for the relocation project. And all.
But that's not the end.
I usually try to design something that I heard with this community. I feel what I was seeing, I still say the project. I was just going to you guys as much as I can. I know you guys told me not to wander around, but I genuinely think this small key could be a lifesaver.
Turns out that small key is not going to be a lifesaver. It's actually going to be the exact opposite, but we'll see what happens there. Oh no, we're in the back room. No, back doors. Never mind, that's another analog horror. I wonder if the back rooms have come out at this point. Not sure. Might actually have to look that up at some point. Might just be a coincidence, I don't know.
It seems like a small area, so I'll just go take a look. See if I can find anything interesting, and then go back. Simple. Figure out how I'll need to have some time, so I'll just try and pry the door and see what's inside. For a ton of these rooms with flying stuff, I came across this door, which was open. Kinda weird. Anyway,
yeah, it's like shipping and skeletons stuff. Again, I don't know whether that was just something that flashed on the screen. I'm just paranoid that there's just going to be something anywhere. No, I don't think there is.
Anyway, this room seems to have some spare pieces and looks as if it's
interesting as well. Yeah, that says unused animatronics, so scrapped. So could that be like some of the characters, maybe like TVA and stuff like that might have not been used? Very interesting.
I won't go into detail about what I find since I'm in a rush, of course, and room number 26 or 27, I think,
Hey, look, it's White Bear. There we go. Yeah, Showbear, who I believe is a character who only gets used up to Bunny Farm because the guy who originally designed Showbear, who was on the team, he left the team, and so I think Martin didn't want to keep using Showbear after that, and so I believe his role, I think it's that he's not going to be using the series going forwards, and like what his roles were going to be I believe I saw that it was going to be split between 2 different characters or something. So yeah, oh my god, I've been recording for like an hour and 13, Jesus Christ. We're nearly there, nearly there. Is that a hiccup? And here we go, is the grey rabbits. Yeah, which is, I mean, it's not a puppet on strings, but it's also got little animatronic bits. We'll find out who this is in the next one. Oh, again, the sounds. Oh. There he is. There's my boy, Billy. There's my boy. But you can notice, like, the difference in the design of him. I mean, we'll get a close-up shot later, but the difference in the full design of him with, like, especially in the face, he doesn't have necessarily, like, a kind of built-up face. It looks more like, kind of like the difference between like Chuck E. Cheese and Showbiz Pizza. Chuck E. Cheese, they were more kind of like blocky built animatronics with kind of like a hinge mechanism for the mouth, while with Showbiz Pizza, they were more like latex kind of masks on the animatronic. Billy kind of reminds me more like of a latex mask design in a way. And again, no eyes as well. I don't believe he ever gets any eyes at any point, I don't think. But again, it makes it feel like he's an animatronic from a different time as well, like a different time period, either before or after. You know, he's got like a little tape thing in him as well, something which the other animatronics at least don't seem to have. So yeah, it makes him differentiated again from all the other ones.
So this is the last door, and I've never seen this clown thing before. Like, there's absolutely no way I'm getting close to that thing.
I think she's going to get close to that thing. But also, again, another thing that's interesting is that she says that she's never seen this clown thing before, even though she will have watched a lot of the tapes, probably maybe even been to Bond's Burgers before, and yet didn't see Billy and hasn't seen Billy before. So again, differentiating him from the rest of them, which is really interesting.
I'll probably wait till you guys do this video and come down here with me so we can take a closer. I found this. I'm pretty sure that clown thing with the jet player installed.
Right, so that's June 28, which is that photo. Oh, no, hold on. Oh, I went way too far.
I found this.
So you can see some like designs for Bond down here as well, like little Bond, and then like a little Bond head there. Yeah, so this says discards, so that's 6th of the 11th, June 11th, 1978. Yeah, so there's discard on there, and as you can see, that's like a month before anything with the relocation project happens, even before the first relocation project like introductory tape is even recorded. You have this discard one which is recorded, so it suggests that there was stuff going on in the bunker way before like the relocation project was even announced in a way. So that's yeah, that's quite interesting.
I think that clown thing with the jet player installed. So I guess I'll have to be brave enough.
That says Bond. I think this might be like an idea of like the different names that they're going to call the establishment in a way. I think it says Bond's Pizza, Bond's something, then they end up with Bond's Burgers in the end. I think is where you had a better shot of the design for, there we go, so that the designs for Little Bond there, which is yeah, really, it would be cool as well if these were actual concepts that Martin had done as well for Little Bond. That would actually be cool. And again, the fact that she doesn't know the names of, like, the fact that it's the name of Billy again suggests that it is a character who wasn't maybe used in the original location but is going to now be used in the new location. But I don't know whether that means that he was made after and like it's a new animatronic, or whether it's an animatronic that was before but then is going to be now used in a new location. Not 100% sure, because in a way he looks a little bit more rudimentary, but the fact that he wasn't used then in the original location, making me wonder. Billy is a dude. But you see what I mean, like about kind of like the mouth movement, where it's like, you know, instead of like kind of like a jaw hinge moving, it's more like a rubber or latex mask on the animatronic that's then being moved. Like it's kind of moving all as one thing rather than, you know, like a separate jaw like the rest of them have, which is interesting. But yeah, very creepy song playing there. Yeah, so that was a list of names, almost like a victim list in a way, so we'll just go back to that again. So Jack Walten, Susan Woodings, Charles, we don't know last name of, I don't think. And to be honest, I think even up to this point, up to Walten Files 3, we still don't know exactly who Charles is or exactly who he's in. There's kind of a heavy implication in the next episode of who he is, but it's never even really properly confirmed. Rosemary Walten. Sophie Walten. There we go. Bye bye, Ashley. This bit's so disturbed. So, also, why does she have... It's just kind of weird to see her have eyelashes below her... Like, kind of like below her eyes. And I mean, you know, you do have eyelashes below, but normally they're above, aren't they? And yeah, now obviously the picture's changed to her being sad and two shadow men. Oh my god. So disturbing. Hello. I believe it says... Hold on, I'll have to turn this up a little bit because it's a little bit hard to hear. Yeah, I believe there's a bit of reversed audio in a second as well. The Party Loony Clown, I think it says. Again, there's captions for some bits, but then not captions for other bits. But again, you can see like with the mouth movement, there's no like hinge or jaw action. It's more like a mask that's put over the animatronic bit. Yes, you can, Billy. Yeah, in reverse. So I'll have to reverse that again afterwards, which I will hopefully remember to do this time. And yeah, I believe this is Bond's arm as well, with a lot of blood on, probably from the victim that we're about to see. Just again, disturbing imagery. Jesus Christ. But yeah, and another thing that differentiates Billy in a way is that I think Ashley is the only victim who isn't from like the original Bond's Burgers establishment. Like you've got, you know, Susan Woodings who worked in the original establishment. You got Rosemary Walten, who's Jack Walton's wife. You got Jack Walten, obviously, in the original establishment. You got Charles, who I believe is also confirmed to be in the original establishment. Not sure. I mean, he dies around that time. If the character who people are saying is Charles in the next episode is Charles, then he's from the original establishment as well. Or the point is, I believe it's like whoever's in Boozoo, he dies around that time as well. But the fact that Billy not only gets a victim at this point, but that victim wasn't even really associated with the original establishment. Again, it's just another thing that differentiates Billy from the rest of them. So yeah, just very interesting that. And again, like, the reversed audio, like, oh, you can even like see the teeth at the bottom of there. Jesus Christ. Oh, and then like the face just slips. There's the URL link, which I'll get in a second, but we need to get this first. There we go. But yeah, just the fact that like the face slips as well. Oh, horrible. Right. So they left the next day. They thought Ashley left early, but she was in the back doors, screaming as much as she could, but no one heard the screams. The following day, the caretakers would complain about an awful smell coming from the back doors. Company decided to shut down the facility until new advice. The Relocate project was unsuccessful. Ashley is still there, but she's not screaming anymore. She saw something she wasn't supposed to see, and now she's beautiful, she's beautiful, she's beautiful. And I think that's kind of like the dark, disturbing thing about this. Like with FNAF, yes, you have like dead kids being shoved into animatronics, but at least the kids are dead at that point. They already like kind of get killed before. In this one, it's very much implied that the victims are still alive when they're in the suits, and they slowly die. Like I mentioned with Banny earlier about the whole thing about like the rabbit starving, is the idea that she didn't die from being shoved into the suit and like shoved like, you know, into like the endo parts and stuff. She died from starvation in a way, which is just, it's way more disturbing than the fact that they're still alive in these things, but kind of like paralyzed and can't move, and their body's like mangled up and stuff. it's incredibly disturbing. But that's why I love this series. It goes to a level of disturbing which it's not necessarily too jump scary. It's more just really disturbing, and the analog horror of it as well makes it really creepy. So that's why I love this series. And then here is our URL. So I'll just put this in now if I can. So the URL should be YouTube.be. I believe .be is for unlisted videos possibly. And then / and then we'll need to get this. So capital K07. This is where it turns out it's actually going to be an O or something. TQ, and then lowercase q, or is that a P? No, that'd be a lowercase q, wouldn't it? T, uppercase Q, lowercase q, yeah, I think. Yeah. This is like trying to read my bloody Wi-Fi password. EDO, I believe that's an O, not a 0. So capital EDO. And then lowercase f, uppercase q. Lowercase f, uppercase q. If it'll load. Please tell me my internet's going to work today. That would be nice. Oh, yep, and here we go. Here is the unlisted video. Yeah, so we'll watch that in a second, but now first we'll just finish off Relocate Project. I'll just read through the credits there. So yeah, written, drawn and edited by Martin Walls. Again, very talented young man. And then the voice acting, so MC as Ashley, poor Ashley. Panini as Kevin. Was he bred? Sorry. Miss Caution as Hillary, and Manny 204553. Turns out that's a code for something, as Billy. That's interesting because I would have thought actually Billy would have been like an AI thing. It actually sounded more AI, but you know, it's good that they actually got a voice actor. I'm assuming this is all their usernames, by the way. All of the voice was achieved by a TTS, yeah, so that's yeah, like AI voice, which is like the stuff from like earlier on in the video with like the like kind of the voiceover and the Shah voice as well. That was all AI, which I think works. To be honest, the thing is, you're doing voices for robots or like kind of like, you know, automatic kind of like script read voices. It kind of makes sense, I feel like, to do that. Although nowadays AI, just everyone's bloody complaining about it. I'm just kind of like, I understand. I think I might have said this like in the last episode or in the previous one, but I understand complaining about AI if it's like in a thing where you would be hiring voice actors anyway. I think if you're just doing a free project off your own back, I don't really care if you use AI or not. You know, I think you can still do some pretty good stuff with it. So yeah. And they're editing Martin Walls, Bravi, which I believe is a guy called Evan, who does Bond's voice, but I believe he might do Buzu's voice as well. I can't remember or not, but yeah, or Buzu's might be someone else. Buzu might be Evan. I thought Evan and Bravi were the same person. I can't remember, but yeah, so that's another voice there, and then DBR Games for tracking effects. Which, and I believe they worked on the first episode as well, if I remember rightly. Also, when did we hear Bond's voice in this video? God, I can't remember. I mean, because you definitely hear Bond's voice in the next episode, but, I mean, unless they'd already been working on the next episode. Do you hear Bond's voice in this one? I genuinely don't remember. Oh yes, no, sorry, you do. Yes, with the Rose, you'll be beautiful. That bit, yes, that must have been. I would have thought that was like an AI voice. It sounded more AI. And then yeah, Walter Fowler's official soundtrack, feature presentation by Sweet Tuesday. I Can't Feel Anything. Sweet Tuesday again. I Can't Feel Anything. I think that's the bit during maybe during Shah's bit. I can't remember. And then other music used: Up, Up and Away, Fifth Dimension, Good Night My Beautiful, Russ Morgan, Lacrimosa, Mozart. There's a really good song used in the third one, which I use normally like on the intro and outro for these videos, which I believe the original song's called Masquerade, but the kind of edited version's called Everything Is 3D. It's a really good song. Love it. Thanks for supporting Bunny Smiles Incorporated. No problem. There you go. Shadow Man feeds me when lights go off. I just love that voice. So good. Right, so, yeah, you don't really see anything on this, but we'll just, And that kind of sounds a bit like Bond's voice as well, so I'm assuming that is Bond saying that. And then this is what we saw on the Bunny Farm arcade machine, so you can see it a little bit better now. So you got Banny, the dumb bunny, you got Shah, Little Bon, and Boozoo. As you can see, kind of like in different outfits as well, suggesting that they're more kind of the TV show character versions rather than the actual animatronics. Then you've got, I believe that says Bon there, and then they've got the barn, and then as you can see here, Show Bear or White Bear. Just lurking in the trees there. So there we go. So that is a Relocate project. We finally got through it. I'm now at an hour and a half. Jesus Christ. I think it's just from doing the timeline. And also probably a lot of that as well. There's a lot of bits I'm going to cut out when I was doing the timeline. So it might be a bit shorter. But I mean, it's the length of any other, like, you know, Power Wash or Minecraft video, isn't it? Anyway, so now we are going to watch Lucky You. This is a... I mean, I say it's short, but it's 4 minutes, and I could just be going through, like, frame by frame. So, who knows how long it's going to be. But, yeah, anyway, but this one's got a lot of dates and stuff as well. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of putting stuff on the timeline for this. So, yeah, let's give it a proper watch. Oh, also, before I do, description. There might be a description. Here we go. Description is actually quite important. So, the story of Bond's Burgers goes back to 1958, where two college students had the same idea of animated performers. The names were Jack Walten and Felix Kranken. Felix Kranken. I just kind of like saying that. I don't know why. It's kind of like that. I'll crump with you, sweetie.
I'll crump with you, sweetie pie.
It took them 16 years to actually execute this concept. By that time, Kranken and Walten had built their own families. Built their own families. It sounds like they're actually building, like they're building the animatronics in a way. They built families of animatronics. Imagine if that was actually a reveal that their family were all actually animatronics. Because, like, FNAF's doing that, isn't it? Where it's like, you know, people are actually animatronics and stuff. That would be crazy if that was actually a thing. Right, Felix married a beautiful lady, and Walten was not only a great husband, but also the father of 3 beautiful children. So, yeah. So, I might actually put on for starters that, kind of the origins of Bond's Burgers 1958, because I mean that is a very important thing to put on the timeline, so I'll just put that in now. Right, so now that's been added on as well. So yeah, so that's, as they say, kind of like 16 years before, so yeah, like a really long time before they actually opened up Bond's Burgers. So that's, yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, now we're going to have to put a lot more onto this timeline. My god. Let's watch through. These little secret tapes are quite cool though. Lovely music. Right, so opening day, so 6th of June 1974. So, sorry, not 6th of June. No, 28th of June. Again, reading the Americans, come here, Americans. Can we please just, like, go with, like, our version? Our version makes more sense as, like, day, month, year rather than month, day, year. Why did you have to change it? It's so confusing. Our country is older than yours, so because that's the thing, right? You know, Britain's kind of older than America, which means any kind of sayings that we have are technically correct because we invented them. So yeah, you know, just saying, we kind of have the high ground on that.
I have the high ground.
Anyway, so yeah, so 28th of June, so we've already put that in. So that is when Bond's Burgers opened. So then Susan Woodings did disappear 2 days after opening, which, yeah, kind of shows how kind of crazy this whole situation is. And also, again, kind of really cool how this is just like a real image, but then it's been edited to actually have like the Bond's Burgers logo. I believe some of the cars as well might have been edited in as well. Like, it's just really cool. Also, that kind of looks like a missing poster there. I'm not sure. That kind of looks like one of, like, maybe like the missing poster for like Rosemary or something. I don't know. That would have been cool if they somehow got that in. But then again, that's on opening day, so she wouldn't have disappeared by that point, I don't think. Also, there's no captions on this one, by the way, I checked. Ah, just creepy, man. Stop staring at me, Bon. You creepy weirdo. And there we go. First birthday party was on the 30th of June. Got it right. There we go. Right, so this is actually quite interesting. So this actually has to go on to the same one, which is good because I'm actually running out of these little arrows. But the first birthday party and Susan Wooding's being last seen both happened on June 30th. So the first birthday party probably happened in the day, and then that evening after they closed, then Susan Wooding's then disappeared. Obviously, you know, we can assume went into Banny, so yeah, very interesting. And I think I'm actually remembering from Walten Trials 3, yeah, that there's kind of like a bit of a monologue where she's talking about, you know, kind of like the first birthday party went great and all that stuff, and then that evening she disappears. So yeah, very interesting that how it all kind of coincides very well. It's kind of cool to see it on a time, because I'm assuming other people have done timelines like this properly written out, but yeah, it's just really cool and interesting to kind of see it like all properly in place. Oh, look at him like in the shadows there as well. Yeah, and then last shows before closure was 10th of July to the 19th of July 1974. So yeah, so there's the last shows from the 10th to the 19th of July 1974. But of course on the 20th, when it closed, there wasn't a show because none of the animatronics came out. It was just a couple of families for some birthday parties, and that was all there was. There wasn't any animatronics out, so there wasn't any shows. Again, I kind of like how all this is kind of piecing together, and it's like, so far there hasn't really been many stumbling blocks that Martin's come across. Like, it shows that he's really kind of thought through it and not like forgotten any little dates here and there, which is really cool. Oh, just that movement. And again, you can see the eyes not blinking as well. Yeah, so then got Thank You for the Smiles, Bond's Burgers from 28th of June till 20th of July 1974. Already got them on the timeline, so we don't need to add them again. Thank God. But again, like, you can even see with Boozu, like, even if he doesn't have like a full lower jaw, he still has this bit, which still moves. Meanwhile, with Billy, again, it's all one thing. Suggests it's more like kind of like a rubber mask or something. Again, it's very hard to tell with the art style because, you know, even like with FNAF, for an example, it's very hard to tell that the animatronics, like in the first game, have fur on them in a way. Like, you know, they kind of, I always kind of thought of it more like kind of like a hard shell in a way, rather than it actually being fur, but it is fur. Also, I've got Phoebe meowing outside, but she cannot come in until I finish recording. Oh god, the music switched off. Oh no. That's just so creepy as well, having like Bon in the window there. Really creepy. So this is Halloween 1974, which would be interesting because I can't remember the date of the mysterious house, but it would be interesting if the mysterious house, because it's the Halloween special, was on this date. That would be kind of other than, again, if Bond's Burgers had just closed, and also I think all the cartoons and stuff happen a few years later, maybe around 1978 and stuff. In fact, I think, was Little Bond's Neighborhood 1979? Can't remember. We'll have to come back to that, but yeah, so this is on Halloween 1974 when the building's been condemned, so I guess I'll put that on the timeline as well. Right, so that's on the timeline now. Bond's Burgers condemned October 31st, 1974, so Halloween 1974. Two kind of interesting things about this. One is that the fact that it's condemned like 4 months later suggests that the building can't be used anymore, at least by Bunny Smiles Incorporated or by you know Jack, Felix, and stuff. So that's one thing that, you know, it means that they definitely did have to move to relocate to a new location, hence the relocation project. But then the other thing as well is that this is, so for one thing, they left at least 4 months from when it closed, but until they get the storage facility at K9, they're left there for like a good year, like maybe less than a year, maybe like, I mean, God, how many months would that be? Well, actually, no, yeah, it would be about a year, actually. Yeah, it would be a year since they closed that they've been left there. Pretty much, just over a year. And then, yeah, but the buildings, at least, it could have been condemned a little bit before October, but the point is, it was definitely condemned in October at that point. And yeah, so the animatronics are left in there for a good year, which is probably why they're in such a state of disrepair, because they're just left. And as you can see on this part here, You can just see Bon in the window there. Interesting as well that he's positioned by the window, by the way. Almost like Bon could move around on his own, I don't know. But, I mean, that's kind of what we've also already seen, haven't we? Like, you know, with all the different murders that are happening, is that Bon can kind of have a bit of autonomy. But, yeah, you know, it's quite interesting that, yeah, the animatronics were just left there for an entire year before the whole relocation project happened, or at least, at the very least, the storage facility being built. Yeah, and then here's the storage facility. Again, it's saying 1975, but I believe in the previous video it said 1974. It's making me think that maybe the bunker was built in 1974. They might have started making some preparations in 1974, but the actual storage facility was opened and properly used in 1975, methinks. There we go. So, oh, well, here we go. So, this is December 10th, 1974. Yeah, so I'm right. So, they built the facility at the end of 1974. So, this is probably to clarify, if people were confused from the previous video, the Walten Files 1. So, this is 10th of December, 1974. So, this is when the bunker was made, but it was going to be, like, used in 1975. So, that's very interesting. So, I guess... should probably put that onto the timeline as well. Yeah, so I've just differentiated these two bits. So storage K9 built, because we know it must have now definitely been built at least at the earliest, December 10th, 1974. And then at least like a good kind of, what, I don't know, 7 months later, maybe just over 7 months later, is when it actually starts getting used in 1975, and then we get Why 4th of July Matters, which is, yeah, it's crazy. Which I'm assuming, I guess, would have come out in July, I guess. I don't know, but we'll just keep it there for now. I mean, maybe it was published a bit earlier. That's the very important bit of lore. Why 4th of July matters. I'm sure that's more important to a lot of Americans than most of us Brits here. But yeah, so the bunker must have at least been built end of 1974. So that's interesting. Or at least the construction must have started around then. But again, this is another interesting thing. These are all the animatronics being, you know, sent to K9, with Banny just looking just like traumatized there. But yeah, what's interesting is again, Billy isn't with these lot, right? He's still, you know, separate. And it says shipping 11 to K9, shipping 12, shipping 13. I'm going to assume Banny's 14. If we could see Billy's number, that would be nice, because if it's an earlier number, it suggests that Billy might have been built earlier. But yeah, it's just very interesting that Billy was sent separately. He's not with them. Again, he's separate from the other animatronics, which is really interesting. So this will probably give us a date, I think. Yep. So this is 23rd of January 1975. Yeah, so this is when the animatronics, at least we can see, are either being shipped to or are getting prepared for shipping to Bunny Smiles. There's also a little spider here, which I might just... It's only a tiny little spider, but should I just let him keep hanging out? I don't really want him to like go onto my head, to be honest. I mean, he's kind of above my monitor at the moment, so I think I'm safe. I'm not sure. Should I try and move him? I might.
A few moments later.
Okay, spider has been successfully removed, hopefully. I hope it's not just going to like crawl on me at some point. It was only a little tiny one, smaller than an ant. So yeah, so I'll just add this onto the timeline now. So this is at least when, I would probably say when the animatronics are being prepared to be shipped. I'm not sure it's when they would have been, because that would suggest that that's when the storage facility would have been used at that point.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Right, okay, so a little bit of a while later, I had to like reformat all the sizing and everything to actually fit the new one on. So hopefully there's only 2 more dates, because I only have space for 2 more, otherwise I'll have to do that all over again, going it even smaller. But yeah, so I've added on Showstoppers prepared for shipping on January 3rd, 1975. So... But then it says, the thing is, we got this one, the storage K9 used from some of the folders, which said July 23rd, 1975. So that's, I'm assuming, when things started to go in, but this is when they were being prepared for shipping. So they were prepared, like, you know, good, like, 6 months before, I guess. In fact, exactly 6 months before, actually, from January 23rd to July 23rd. So, yeah, they must have, like, started getting things ready to ship and then started shipping them off in July. So that's interesting. Now, finally back to actually reacting to the video. God, that took way too long. There's probably going to be like, a load cut out of this because of that. But, Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting to that specific date as well. Again, it makes it feel like a lot of this has been planned out. So, yeah, really interesting. We're only like a quarter of the way through this. My God. I think the second half of this, though, has less dates on it, which is good, though. Here we go. 6th of the 11th. No, 6th of the 11th. Ugh. British dates. June 11th, 1974. So I believe actually this might be when Jack Walton goes missing. I'm not sure. I think that's the date, June 11th. So we'll put this as, for now, we'll put this as Lucky You, I think. So I'll just add that on now. So again, I've just found something else quite interesting on this, which is, so I'm putting this as Lucky You for now. I believe it is the disappearance of Jack Walton, not the VHS that we saw earlier, but when Jack Walton disappears. And I believe it is June 11th, which is interesting because then that means that is essentially like a couple of weeks before Bond's Burgers opens, which I think, now I'm remembering, I think that is actually how the story goes. So essentially, Jack Walton disappears a couple of weeks before Bond's Burgers opens, and then Rosemary's looking for her husband while the restaurant's open. So yeah, it is quite interesting that there's a lot of stuff that happens before the restaurant even opens, which is crazy. So yeah, I think that's the last date in this video. I'm bloody well hoping it is, because I do not have enough space and I really just want to just want to get this video, and I've got to do the reversed audio as well, so that's going to take a bit of time. So yeah, so we'll just, I think from this point this is the last date in this video, so let's keep watching. Getting prepared to turn the volume up or down. Oh, hello.
You must be so confused about what you saw. Don't be scared, my little bunny. Answers will be given eventually.
Oh, my little bunny.
But don't try to solve this puzzle only with the pieces you have so far.
I like that. It's kind of a bit of a meta thing, that basically telling the audience, wait for the new videos to come out.
This is only the beginning, for I'm going to tell you a
Story of broken people. Beautiful people.
He is so sorry.
I just love that I know these off by heart. But yeah, so a story of broken people, beautiful people. Yeah, and I guess that's kind of going into they're broken people because there are things that happen that break these people, but then they become beautiful by becoming the animatronics in a way. Like there's the whole idea, I think it's even in this video, whereas the whole idea of that you become, you know, you be put into one of the animatronics, you become beautiful in a way. So it'd be cool to see if that gets elaborated on in like the future episodes that I haven't seen yet.
To tell you a story of broken people, beautiful people.
And that's kind of another thing as well, which I think Matt Pat pointed out when he reacted to this, was that the good thing about this series is that unlike with FNAF, where it's like it's about the animatronics, and there's kind of just people as like the side characters, this is very much more about the people, and the animatronics are just kind of the backdrop to it. Like this more goes into kind of like the stories of the actual people involved, the actual kind of victims involved, rather than FNAF where it's kind of like a lot more mascot horror in a way.
He is so sorry about what he did to them, but there's nothing he can do. Remember?
And I know what that's referencing, but that's coming up in Walten Files 3, so... Hold on, was that something in the background? Hold on. That looks like something, and I don't know. I don't know whether that's just a bit of the tree, but it looks like a weird texture that looks... I don't know. There's sometimes stuff hidden in the background. Yeah.
Sorry about what he did to them. But
it might actually just be some of the warping of that, the transition.
beautiful people.
Yeah.
He is so sorry about what he did to them, but there's nothing he can do. Remember that.
Yeah, I know what that's referencing. Yeah, so I can go back to that when we watch the next one, which actually might be quite a while away because there's a lot of videos in between.
Safety at pills, Sophie. Safety at pills, Sophie.
Safety and pills, Sophie. So obviously we saw the little pill bottle in the last episode. So obviously safety and pills for Sophie. Sophie Walton. There's Brian Stell's death. Do you think there's safety in pills, Sophie? So it's just going back over stuff that we've seen.
Safety of pills, Sophie. Safety of pills, Sophie.
White bear. Show bear. There we go.
Safety of pills, Sophie.
Yeah, there's the pills.
Safety of pills, Sophie.
Which I believe is the thumbnail for this video as well.
Safety of
Fuck you. I love how some of them actually get me. Again, just upping the audio, man, is a good jump scare. You don't need something jumping out of the cameras. You just need a massive audio change. That's right, here we go. Oh, can't you see? Yes, I can. I made them beautiful. I don't know how. I didn't even mean to, but I did. They tried to talk to us through analog, because it's analog horror. I'm guessing this might be Bond, maybe talking, but yeah, again, the kind of idea of like, yeah, like, because I guess Bond's the one putting them into the animatronics, so I guess like Bond making them beautiful didn't mean to make them beautiful, but he did. And yeah, they tried to communicate through analog, so I guess that's saying that the spirits or whatever are maybe communicating through the analog tapes in a way. Maybe that's kind of going towards them being more possessed rather than, you know, physically edited in a way. They will be heard. This is their way, this is their cry for help. Yeah, so that's the videos in a way are their, you know, the VHSs are their cry for help. Besides, they want us to know what happened that year, so that year in 1974. So I guess that's kind of what they're trying to do through the tapes, like kind of show what happened, all the different tragedies and stuff that happened. But we must be patient, I guess this is because sane people need to wait for the next episode. Look, I am. They are filled with life. They dance to the music. They laugh and sing along. They are perfect. But is this talking about the animatronics? Or is this talking about the people now beautiful in the animatronics? Very interesting. They are beautiful. Oh, so creepy. They will see you soon, Sophie. Really creepy music. I don't think there's anything at the end of this. Might be. No, there is not. There is an advert. That is it. So yeah, so now I've gone through the videos finally. I'm glad I only did those two for this one, otherwise this video would be way too long. Right, so what I'm going to do now is, so the timelines, I'll just go over the timeline briefly again with this. In fact, I might go over the timeline in a minute. First, I'll just... I might actually have to record this bit later, so because I'll need to actually download the video to do the bit in reverse. But so I might maybe even record this on a different day, to be honest. So I'll now insert a bit of me showing my reaction to the reversed audio now.
2 days later.
Okay, so it's a couple of days later now. I've just finished the main edit of the video, and now I'm coming back to do the reversed audio section. Just before I do though, there were just a couple of things on the timeline that I noticed in the edit that were quite interesting. So for starters, you'll notice, well, if you have a keen eye, you'll notice, well actually the one thing you'll notice to start with is this is a lot smaller, and I've added a lot more things. Yeah, I've got like 10 more spaces now for dates, so hopefully that should be enough. But if you have a keen eye, you might notice that there is one thing missing from here, which was the one saying that storage K9 used was in July 23rd, 1975. And the reason why I changed that was because I looked back at the video and I remember in the bit with like the files and the folders and stuff, I couldn't tell whether it was a 1 or a 7 to represent the month, whether it was like 1/23/75 or 7/23/75, and so I think I got confused and I thought it was a 7 at that point, and then in Lucky You it confirms that it is a 1, so for January. So I think it was meant to be in January the whole time, and it actually makes a lot more sense because then you have the K9 storage facility built in the December of 1974. and then it starts getting used in the January of 1975 rather than being used in the July of 1975, and also then it means you don't have the whole thing of that the animatronics get prepared for storage in the January, then it gets sent in the July. It doesn't really make as much sense. It makes much more sense if it is January 23rd, 1975. And I think what Lucky You does is it kind of confirms that it is a 1 and not a 7, rather than it being two separate dates. Because I was thinking, like, oh yeah, it is weird that they're both on the 23rd, like, just so happens to be exactly that date. But no, I think it's just because I got confused with that. But the other thing that I noticed as well was in regards to Discard. So Discard's the tape that Ashley puts into Billy, and it plays the list of victims' names. And what's interesting is that's on June 11th, 1978, and Lucky You, or the disappearance of Jack Walten, happens on June 11th, 1974. So it's exactly 4 years after Jack disappears that we get Discard. So I just thought that was quite interesting. I don't know the exact significance of that, but I think it is quite an interesting thing that happens exactly. It's almost like a 4-year anniversary, and this Discard tape's made with all these victims' names. And it's interesting that whether that's actually like a victim list, like a hit list, or whether that's like the victims' names as in it's trying to tell people these are the people who died in a way, almost like whether it's like a threat or a warning. It's like very interesting to figure out what that's actually meant to represent. But anyway, moving on from the timeline. So I'm in my editing software now, DaVinci Resolve. This is the software I use to edit all my videos. And so I put in the videos. It's not just the reversed audio. I've also put in a couple of other little bits as well, because there's a couple of other bits that I just thought would be interesting and relevant to discuss. So the first bit that I've got is with Shah's reversed audio, where she kind of glitches out and reverses the audio, so we'll just listen to that now. It might be a bit hard to hear. I think I've turned it up to the right volume now, so hopefully you can hear this.
Nancy, isn't it what Rosemary would go to the restaurant every night hoping that his beloved husband would reappear after being missing for weeks? But no response until one day she heard a voice saying, "I know where she is, Rosie," coming from the backstage.
So that's basically saying that Rosemary, Jack Walton's wife, went to the restaurant every night looking for her husband. So she was looking for Jack Walton because he had disappeared on June 11th, about like a couple of weeks before the restaurant opened. So literally as through the entirety of that month or so, up until her death, she keeps going to the restaurant trying to hound them about, asking where her husband is. I believe in the next one or whatever, I think it might be in the next one, it's kind of shown that she's quite distressed and stuff, and really kind of causing a bit of a ruckus while the restaurant's open and stuff. And so maybe that's the reason why she was bopped off. And then it says that that someone called from the backstage saying, "I know where she is, Rosie." So someone called her into the backstage, and then obviously we know what happened to her then. She got attacked by Bon and put into Shah. Now the next bit that I put on is a bit that I actually missed out, that I didn't mention, which is where Shah, little Bon's neighborhood Shah, the cartoon Shah, glitches out and says this. So that's her saying, "Sophie, where am I?" So Sophie's obviously her daughter. And people, I think, because it's all in this scene, people have kind of speculated that means, because Sophie was also in the facility caretaker outfit, that means that Sophie was the one who led her to the backstage. And there's a couple of reasons why I don't think that's the case. A lot of it is explained in Bunny Farm. It's mainly with the age that Sophie would have been at the time that Rosemary disappeared. I believe, it's obviously not confirmed in this tape, but I believe that she's 14 at the time when her mum disappears, which would have to suggest that she was working at Bon's Burgers during the time when she was 14, which I just think is a bit... I mean, you can have a job when you're young, but I feel like working in, like a restaurant place, I just don't really see that being likely. And also, around that time when she's 14, I think it's also that she has to be taken to an appointment, like a dental appointment or something. And so, yeah, I don't really see why she'd be able to have a job, but she still needs to be taken to like dental appointments and stuff. That just doesn't add up. But also, I believe it's that Sophie's in when we see her in the Walten Files 1, the company introductory tape, in that quick flash where like little Bond's like got the lighter and stuff, and then it flashes and so it shows Sophie and Big Bon behind her. It's that she's in a facility caretaker uniform, not in a I mean, I guess it is a Bunny Smiles uniform, but I think it's specifically kind of shown as a facility caretaker uniform, which is for the canine storage facility. And so, yeah, so I feel like she would have more worked there. And also, again, in Bunny Farm, in the next tape, it kind of shows that she isn't or hasn't worked for BSI at this point, and it feels like her in that uniform is something that happens after Bunny Farm. So it's something where, you know, the events of Bunny Farm happen, and then she decides to get a job working for BSI as a facility caretaker, possibly not even in the canine storage facility, possibly just a BSI employer facility caretaker in another, you know, probably when the restaurant is actually opened. So I don't think it was Sophie. And also it's the fact that why would she lure her mum to her death? Like, I don't really understand that. You could say maybe she was manipulated or something like that, but I don't know. I just feel like there are other options. And there's the Shadow Man, for example. This is probably the Shadow Man saying that. Whoever that is, we don't really know who that is. I think a lot of people think it's Felix, but I think that's a little bit too obvious, so might be someone else. But yeah, anyway, that's my speculation on that bit. And then just to carry on from the reversed audio, I'll just play the reversed audio again, and then in fact I might just delete this bit, and then we can have the reversed audio with the aftermath straight after. So we'll just listen to that again.
Rosemary would go to the restaurant every night hoping that his beloved husband would reappear after being missing for weeks, but no response until one day she heard a voice saying, "I know where she is, Rosie," coming from the backstage.
Also in this next bit, I've kind of pitch shifted it up to make it kind of match a little bit more.
By the time the lady entered the backstage, as the voice told her to, missing husband wasn't there. Instead, she found a rabbit.
Rose broken will fix you. You will beautiful. You will beautiful. You will beautiful.
And there we go. So, yeah, so after she's told to enter the backstage, she then doesn't find her husband. Instead, she finds a rabbit. And again, the whole thing of, you know, saying, "I know where your husband is," maybe could that be suggesting that the husband is Bon? Possibly, like, you know, they weren't lying that the husband is there, but it's because he's in Bon. Again, not really confirmed. It's not really confirmed where Jack Walten is, but also who's in Bon. It's never really confirmed. And so, yeah, still up in the air, unless, as I say, if the Walten Files 4 might have confirmed it. I don't know. There is kind of another contender who might be in Bon, but that'll be revealed in the next episode. So that's all the Shah reversed audio. Pretty cool. The next one, I'm probably not going to be able to dissect as much because it's very hard to make out what it actually is. Again, I've tried to pitch shift it a little bit, but it doesn't really help too much. But anyway, I'll show you this. So this is the reversed audio from Billy. I'm going to pitch shift it up a bit just to try and make it sound like what it would normally sound like. I'm not sure if it is, but hopefully it might make it a little bit easier to understand. But the problem is he kind of like jitters and stutters a bit on his lines because, you know, he's like broken animatronic and stuff, unlike the stuttering that I do in real life. So this is Billy's reversed audio.
Hello, I'm Billy, the funny loony clown.
Again, Party Loony Clown or Fawny Loony Clown? That's what I'm getting. I think it's probably like Party Loony, or some people put like Party Movie Clown, but that wouldn't really make much sense. Loony sounds like it makes more sense.
Sing you a song?
Yes, now he's going to sing us a song, which isn't really much of a song.
The blind fortune colors spoke with knowledge, but never with content.
It's very hard to make out what it says.
The blind fortune colors.
The blinds went to college, or the blinds went to college
With knowledge.
and then filled with knowledge. I think the blind went to college filled with knowledge.
The blind fortune colors spoke with knowledge, but never with content.
Yeah, it's very hard to make out what it is. I believe some people have made it out to be like there's a certain like phrase or quote from a book of something, and I can't remember what it was now, but I don't think it actually has any kind of relevance to anything so far. No one's really been able to theorize if it is this quote that people have found. That I don't really think it has like any relevance to anything so far, and no one's been able to like decipher what it would mean. Martin Walls hasn't actually confirmed what it said, what Billy's saying at this point. So yeah, it's kind of still a mystery, but I just thought I might as well show it. So anyway, back to the main video. Okay, we're back in the room. So now I'm just going to go over the timeline just before I finish the video. So, and I'll probably just do this at the end of each video just to give a bit of a recap in a way. So, yeah, so it starts off in 1958 with Jack Walten, Felix Kranken having the idea for animatronics. Woo! And then 16 years later, they actually build Bond's Burgers. But before that happens, Jack Walten, I believe this is the disappearance of Jack Walten, but yeah, Jack Walten goes missing, and this Lucky You tape comes into existence somehow, the secret tape. But then Bond's Burgers opens maybe a couple of weeks later. A couple of days later, the first birthday party happens, and that evening Susan Woodings goes missing and disappears. Then a month or so later, just less than a month, like kind of like half a month later, are the last shows before the place closes on July 20th, 1974. Then 4 months later, Bond's Burgers is condemned. It might have happened a bit before that, but, you know, it's definitely condemned by October 31st, Halloween 1974. Then a couple of months later, the K9 storage facility is built. And then a month after that, the showstoppers, at least, are prepared for shipping to the K9 facility. And then 6 months later, exactly 6 months later, oh no, that would be exactly 7 months later, I don't know. Yeah, 7 months later, the K9 storage facility starts being used, so things start being shipped over and being put in there. And then the most important thing, we get why July 4th, why 4th of July happened. I can't even speak at this point. Why 4th of July Matters happens in 1978. There we go. So that's 3 years later. And then Discard, which is the tape which has the names, I guess, of all the victims on, is, I guess, recorded June 11th, 1978. So kind of like halfway through that year. And then a month later, the Relocation Project kind of introductory tape is recorded. Then tape number 3, which is the technical support one, is recorded maybe like, you know, a week or so later. And then a few days after that, the Relocation Project itself happens. Ashley gets stuffed into Billy, and then the tape for like the Banny kind of technical support, where you're like, you know, seeing all the different like mouth movements and stuff. That happens about a month later after that. So that's what we got so far. I'm probably going to edit this before the next video, so that means I can fit even more dates on, because I know there's going to be a lot of dates like in Bunny Farm and stuff like that. But for now, anyway, that will do for this video, because now I've been recording for 2 hours and 24 minutes. I know a lot of that's going to get cut out because, you know, I had to, you know, format the timeline in different ways. So a lot of that stuff's going to get cut out, but yeah, I think probably might be like hour and a half video, maybe. I'm hoping to God. So the next videos, I'll just have a look for a sec. I think they're not like canon ones. I think they're just like little ones. So that should be good. Hopefully the timeline shouldn't need to be used too much for it. But yeah, the next videos, yeah, they're like, it's going to be kind of a few kind of small ones before then we get to the holiday specials, which are The Mysterious House and Boozoo's Ghosts. The next one's going to be a bit kind of like a meme one, I guess. I don't know, it's probably going to be a lot shorter. And then I might do The Mysterious House and Boozoo's Ghosts separately. Fortunately, those ones, I don't believe, they might have dates for like when they came out, but there's not like dates throughout it, which is good. I think Mysterious House might have a few little dates, I'm not sure, but yeah, there should be some fun ones, and they are kind of the scariest ones as well. Ironically, kind of the holiday specials, I feel anyway, are the scariest ones. They have some of the scariest jump scares, just some of the best like suspense building as well, which is really good. So that'll be the next Walten Files video. The next video on the channel, it should be Power Wash Simulator, but then it also could be the Nemesis Reborn Twisted Vengeance Towers Times event. That'll be the next time I'm at Alton Towers. I think I might be able to get Power Wash Simulator out before then. but if not, it'll be one of those two. So until Power Wash Simulator, I will see you next time. Bye.